Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Lawrence Michael, Operations Manager for Air Quality Remediation, making another video for this is a duct cleaning project that we're working on. So it's cleaning and sanitizing the air conditioning unit, ductwork, vents at a residential property. This project also includes cleaning out the dryer vent and the dryer vent ductwork that goes to the discharge outside the house. It also has a spot of mold remediation in a second floor bathroom, and then cleaning the exhaust fan in each bathroom of the house. So typically bathrooms have an exhaust fan that discharges high relative humidity air. When you get a shower, all that moisture has to be discharged somehow. So the exhaust fan in the bathroom is what takes that high relative humidity air, high moisture content air, and pumps it outside. So they do have to be cleaned periodically as well. So typically when we do a residential duct cleaning and air conditioning unit cleaning project, those exhaust fans in the bathrooms are included as well. So as always, when we're doing duct cleaning, it's still all about controlling airflow, just as it is in any remediation or restoration project. Controlling that airflow, creating negative pressure throughout the system, using HEPA collectors to make sure that no dust, dirt, debris, mold spores, any kind of contaminant that may be inside the system doesn't get out into the rest of the house. It all gets contained inside of a HEPA collector. So we have here a HEPA 500 that you guys have seen multiple times on other remediation and restoration projects. And we have that ductwork connected to the unit itself. So this is the return side of the unit right here that goes up on the right side of your screen. That's the return side. Then this is the supply side. And then goes up. So whenever we're doing duct cleaning, we always start with the return side first. So you always do the return, then the unit itself, then the supply. The reason is if you start with the supply side and you clean everything, because the return is pulling air from the house back in and then getting filtered out and then going back into the supply. That's how the system works. It's usually functioning on 10% outside air, which means 90% of the air that's coming out of the supply is just recirculated air, typically for residentials. But if you were to do the supply side first and then go to the return, it's likely that the dust and dirt that you're kicking up in the return side would then recontaminate your supply side that you already cleaned. So you always start on the return side, clean that, remove all of the dust, dirt, and debris, then go to the unit, clean the coils, fans, motors, things like that, and then go to the supply side. That way everything stays cleaned. You don't waste time or energy cleaning something and then it gets recontaminated. So like I said, we have our HEPA collector ducted to the return side. We just cut in an access hole to be able to hook the collector to, and that's pulling all that dust, dirt, and debris from the unit, from the return, into the ductwork, and then going into the collector, getting filtered out, and then discharging just fresh air over here. So that's the main part of the unit. This is the dryer vent here. So this HEPA collector is just sitting on top of the dryer. So once we finish the air conditioning unit and all the ductwork and the vents, we have to do the dryer vent ductwork. So we'll disconnect all the dryer vent ductwork. In this case, it's PVC piping that goes back to behind the dryer itself. So once we get the ductwork done, we'll tackle the dryer vent. And typically, dryer vents get really dirty if they're not cleaned periodically. So in this case, laundry room is right here, dryer right here, goes up that PVC pipe like we talked about, goes through the wall here, and you can see that definitely needs to be cleaned. And then there was PVC piping that ran all the way across the garage and then went out the hole here for the exterior of the garage. So this is where that PVC piping is now sitting. We disconnected it so we could clean it out, and so I can show you guys what it looks like on the inside. Let's see if I can get you like that. Typical buildup, typical dust and dirt, dryer lint, things like that. And then the other side, all the way down for sure. And this is typical. If the dryer vent ductwork doesn't get cleaned periodically, it is, typical that all this buildup does occur, and it does become a fire hazard over time. Obviously the dryer gets, extremely hot. It needs to discharge this hot air. If this ductwork or this PVC piping in this case is all clogged up with that dust and dirt and debris and lint and everything else, that hot air can't be discharged, and it just builds up heat inside the system and then ends up causing a fire. So it definitely is a fire hazard and should be cleaned. Good thing we're taking care of that as well. Again, that's the hole where it comes through from the laundry room out into the garage. So we'll clean that out before we reassemble all the ductwork, the dryer vent ductwork. So I'll take you guys through. We'll check out some vents, see what's inside all of the supply and return vents throughout the house, and then we'll close this video out. So hang on 1 second and we'll go check out some vents. Hey, so now we're inside the house. So this is a typical return vent. Like I said, we start on the return side and we have our HEPA collector set up to the return ductwork. So when we're first starting out, we take down all of the vents and then tape up the ductwork for all of the returns. So that way when we go upstairs, we start from the farthest point away from the unit and work our way back. In this case, the unit being in the laundry room on the first floor. We'll start up on the second floor, at the farthest point of the house, work our way through the different rooms of the second floor, then come down to the first floor, work our way through, and then back to the laundry room, do the unit, and then same process for the supply. So here's a typical return ductwork that the vent's been removed. Painter's tape is set up to block that ductwork, that run of ductwork off, so that way we can isolate individual sections of ductwork for our cleaning, our whip system, compressor cleaning process. So this one's blocked off, and then I'll show you over here. I open this one up. This is a much bigger return. This is the main return for the living room, but the process is still the same. So I just took down the painter's tape so we could see what it looks like inside this return. This is just fiberglass insulation. It's called fiberglass duct board. So the ductwork is just made up of this fiberglass board. It's not rigid ductwork, it's called, which is stainless steel ductwork. My flashlight just died. Let me get you a different flashlight. Okay. Good thing we always carry 3 flashlights. So inside here we can see lots of spider webs, lots of dust and dirt, dog and cat hair, some electrical wiring that's in here for some reason, which happens a lot. Lots of dust and dirt on the bottom. Lots of dust and dirt throughout this whole return system. So that's pretty common. We see that all the time. Again, this is the whole purpose of getting the system clean. So we'll go up and we'll check out some other vents upstairs, and then like I said, we'll close the video out. So before we went upstairs, I did want to note something. This is in a bathroom, so this is a typical bathroom exhaust fan. So we turn the fan on, it turns on, pulls that high relative humidity air up through the fan, through the exhaust ductwork, and then usually out through the roof, or sometimes just into the attic. And then the attic has ventilation, soffit vents, steeple vents, ridge vents, things like that to discharge that high relative humidity. But I did want to show that this dust and dirt, sometimes paint chips and things from when they built the house and then they first painted everything. A lot of this gets built up here, and then the fan doesn't create those CFMs, that cubic feet per minute, that pressure to pull that high relative humidity air out, and then it causes mold on the ceilings of the bathrooms. I see that a lot, mold growth on the ceiling of a bathroom, because either A, the exhaust fan isn't present, it just wasn't ever put in, B, it's there but it doesn't turn on, it's not hooked up, or C, it's there and it's hooked up but either it's covered with insulation, or the ductwork's not attached, or it's just so dirty it's not functioning anymore. Any of those things will cause mold growth on the ceiling of a bathroom, because there's no way for that high relative humidity, that high moisture air, to leave the bathroom. It stays in the bathroom, heat rises, it causes mold on the ceiling. So cause and effect. But before we went upstairs, I just wanted to show what a typical exhaust fan looks like, you know, how dirty it gets, and then why we clean them. So we'll go upstairs now. All right, so this is a return vent, return ductwork on the second floor. And as we can see, I had it blocked off, so I just pulled it open so that you guys could see what was going on. So again, spider webs, electrical wiring, dust and dirt inside here. And then if we look at the vent itself, we can see spider webs, lots of dust and dirt. Let's see, this is a supply vent here. This one is dirty, but it's not as dirty as some of the other supply vents that we've opened up. But while we're here, same thing, lots of dust and dirt. Lots of building materials in there. I'm trying to get a view farther down. Well, you can see the dust and dirt in there. I wasn't really able to get a good view in there. Let's see what else we can find. What was a real bad one? Let's see. This one, same thing. Dust and dirt, building materials, spider webs. All the things you don't want coming through your air conditioning unit. We can see here we have one of our technicians HEPA vacuuming out one of these supply vents. I think this one was one of the worst ones, but he's already started the HEPA vacuuming process, so it won't look as bad at this point, but that's okay. You know, our technicians are moving quick to get everything done, so it's my own fault I didn't get here for the video soon enough. But you can see he's going through HEPA vacuuming the vents, HEPA vacuuming inside the ductwork, as far down as our HEPA vacuum will allow us to reach. And then once he's done with that, we start the whip system, it's called. That utilizes a HEPA collector that we showed earlier in the video, a air compressor with a whip system, which is this setup here. So the air compressor supplies air through this hose, through this black hose, to a trigger. The trigger just opens and closes, allowing compressed air to come through. It then goes through these tubes that we send through the ductwork. Again, starting from the farthest point away from the unit, working our way back. And then on the end of these tubes will be whip tips, they're called. And there's a lot of different types of whip tips. So for instance, this whip tip right here plugs into the end of that hose, and then compressed air goes through here and it whips it all around inside the ductwork. So that way not only is compressed air coming out of the hose blowing all the dust and dirt and debris through the ductwork down towards the collector that's being, that's hooked up downstairs that we looked at in the laundry room, that's pulling all the dust and dirt and debris through that way. So we're pushing everything through one direction as the HEPA collector is pulling it all through the other direction. And as this whip system is whipping all around, it's knocking all that dust and dirt and debris throughout the system out to the collector. So that's how a whip tip works. So it knocks all the dust and dirt off the system and then blows it towards the collector where it's then collected. So that's about it. We have one of the technicians working in the bathroom like we talked about, doing a small remediation spot. That's under a containment and negative air pressure. So there's not too much I can show you there because it's already begun. But I think that's about it for this video. I took some before pictures. I'll take after pictures as always. If we have time at the end of the day, we'll do a quick walkthrough of what everything looks like after everything's been cleaned and sanitized. Maybe we'll take a look inside the HEPA collector and see all the dust and dirt and everything else that's been collected inside the HEPA collector that was removed from the supply and return system. I think that would be a pretty cool video, because then you guys can actually see everything that's been collected and removed from the system. But other than that, as always, I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you all for your time. If you have any indoor air quality concerns, definitely give us a call. Check us out on all of our other social media platforms. If you have any ideas for future videos, definitely put them down in the comments. I read all the comments and I respond back to all the comments. Everybody that does comment and like the video and is subscribed, I definitely appreciate it. So as always, thank you for your time, and we'll see you on the next video.